Welcome, everybody. We are so excited. This is episode 6, the end of season 1 of No Filter Femme. We are very excited to be here tonight. I'm Kelly Mason, your co host. And together with my girl, Melia, we're here to explore the joys and challenges of love, relationships, and intimacy after 40 with honesty, humor, and heart.
I love it. At No Filter Femme, we have very real, raw, and unfiltered conversations. And you two were with us last night, so you know that's the truth. But with the goal of improving the lives of Black women over 40.
Yes.
And as my co-host has already said, I am Melia Arnett Archie, and I'm so happy to be here with you. Mm-hmm. And we're going to toast it up.
Yes.
On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
No Filter Femme.
We're so glad that you guys came back with us tonight. Yeah. Listen, for our listening audience, if you have not listened to episode 3, you must go back. It was a No Filter Femme After Dark episode, real and raw. We're so honored to have these beautiful ladies back with us tonight.
Yes.
We are going to have some conversation, and how we're going to mix it up this time is throw out a couple of questions. Mm-hmm. Whoever feels so inclined to answer the question will go from there, and we'll just see, as usual, where the unfiltered conversation takes us.
Yes.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, so question number 1.
Uh-oh.
I know. I'll ease ourselves on it. We'll ease ourselves on it. How do you communicate your needs in a new relationship? And I'm going to add a part B to that. How do you communicate your needs in a long-term relationship? So 2 different dynamics. One where the partner is new to you, and how do you communicate your needs to them? And then likewise, when you have been with somebody for quite some time, which kind of touches, Pam, on what we talked about the last time we were all together, but how do you communicate your needs to your partner? Whoever would like to go.
Which needs did you have a specific need in mind?
Whichever need you were thinking of.
Yes.
I'm very verbal, so I'm not shy. So I just say what I want in any or need in any situation.
Have you always been that way?
Yes, pretty much. I've always been that way. And people can take it as being bossy or, the Leo in me. But it's how I've always been able to say, you know what, I really don't like when you do that. Would you mind doing this? And if as far as any sexual things are concerned, I have actually written stuff down before. I'll write the shit down. I'm very serious.
If you can write a book, make it plain.
I'm serious because that's so important that I be pleased sexually, or else what's it for?
Yeah.
What's the point? So I literally have. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See. This this is what I need you to do.
Oh, so you have like pictures.
Oh, girl, no, I'm for real. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm real with mine. I need. So you see this spot right here? I will tell you exactly because I don't really want to waste a lot of time and then say I should have said something. You know what I mean? So I try to say it up front, and I ask guys when I meet new guys. Because I'm usually just like with that one guy, it's a long-term relationship. Right now I'm single though, just to get y'all know.
Okay.
But I usually with the same guy, so we kind of get into each other, and I give it back. So what do you like? And they feel so empowered to say, "What? Like that's never happened to them." Mm-hmm. No, every guy I've ever been with, for any relationship, they've never had a woman tell them exactly what they want.
Oh, really?
And I'm not to say it doesn't happen. Pardon?
Pull that mic back toward your face.
That's not to say that it doesn't happen. I'm sure it happens, and maybe they're just not listening. But I'm going to sit you down and say, listen, this is what I need you to do for me. Mm-hmm. I cannot stand when the toilet seat is up.
Right.
I need you just to put that down. Would you mind? We can buy one of those automatic things and you just push the button. I mean, we can make it work. Mm-hmm. It's small little things because that's, in the end, it's what will get on your nerve, the little small things. So
yes.
I really, really like when you put your tongue right there. That makes me feel some kind of way. Just even a little gentle kiss there when we're out in public. would you mind doing that? Oh, no, no, no. And they always go, really? I go, yeah.
Now, question. So you said that you've always sort of just flowed that way. Um, I think that's probably not unique, but uncommon for most women to sort of live out of that level of power and self assuredness to be able to speak up and especially about, sexual things. What, other than it being innate, just to your nature and how you were born, sort of give us a clue as to sort of the things in your early life, even leading up to where you are now, that made you this emboldened and empowered to be able to define for yourself what you want and make it clear to your partner.
Um, I think a lot of it was because I know we talked about yesterday that, or the last episode, that I was the unfortunate left out middle child. So I think a lot of it was just the way that I had to be if I wanted to get anything accomplished in my life. I had to say something. Mom, I don't like rice and gravy. Well, you're gonna have to eat that. Well, I just don't like it, so I wouldn't eat it. So, and then she couldn't understand that part. Why do you not like that? I just don't like it. So
Yeah.
I felt compelled to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's
Mhm.
probably where it stems. Oh, that was pretty profound.
Mm-hmm.
I felt compelled to be heard, even at a young age. I can remember stories when I was 11 years old. Reading, I used to read a lot. I used to listen to a lot of classical music. I was really big into everything intellectual. I don't, it's just how it was. I liked the opera. I liked
Mm-hmm.
music. I liked the theater. I loved everything about that music life. So I spent a lot of time alone by myself, inside myself. And it was a good thing. And it taught me to know a little bit more about who I am in any relationship. And I remember my mother's friends used to be afraid of me because I was so outspoken.
I was gonna say, was it your honesty that?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was so outspoken. And so that made them feel like I was being disrespectful.
Mhm.
But I was never really disrespectful. I just would say, why do you wear that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why are you wearing, like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but why do you wear that? And my mother would say, stop, don't say that. And I'd be like,
But don't you think, I mean, just hearing you say that, Lavi, I think the other side of that is why a lot of Black women have a hard time speaking up because when we do ask questions, when we're inquisitive early, we're oftentimes shut
Shut
down.
down.
Yes.
And
like
so we
that.
learn, yeah, we learn
Mhm.
to just not ask the question or
Right.
just not make the statement or make the point for fear of retribution or,
Mhm.
and so I'll speak personally for myself. That culture of you do so because I said so,
Hmm.
I think is so damaging
Yeah.
to little Black girls that are growing into young women, that are growing into full grown women, that are growing into older women, right? Because we're carrying that with us that what I have to say is not valued and respected. So I'm just gonna be quiet and I'm gonna go with the flow and I'm gonna take what's given to me.
Yeah.
And if I'm learning anything early on in this conversation with my girls, it's to make space for them to have an opinion and to speak their mind without judging it and without being judged by it.
Question everything.
Yeah.
I taught my sons that, and my mother used to hate that too. She despised that. Why do you allow them to question me? Because part of the reason, I told her, part of the reason is because I don't want them to be a statistic. I want them to be able to feel empowered around somebody with authority and not let the janitor who's over them take them
Mm-hmm.
into the closet and molest them. So I
Mm.
need them to say, I don't want you to touch me there. That's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or I need them to ask a question for any time they feel uncomfortable. Anytime.
Right.
Grandma, why do I have to do that? And I'm telling you, it was so many fights about that. And that was, for me, a deal breaker because my kids are going to question everything
Right.
from anybody. It's
Right.
absolutely okay. I guess I learned what you just said. I learned that that was part of the problem for us. So I taught them to be strong and say what's on respectfully. You know, like just you can't just say you have to be respectful and say it in a respectful way. But you always have the power over you and how you feel and who you are to say what you need to say to anybody in this world. Nobody in this world is better than you.
I do think that's a lesson that a lot of us learned after 40. I do feel like the disrespect of questioning authority, of questioning anything, of having a retort, even if it was valid, even if it made sense, even if what they were saying was crazy. They're oftentimes in our community, from my opinion, generally is a go with the flow, that is respectful.
Right.
You don't want to be disrespectful. So just the underlying part of that is just take it.
Right.
Right. So like my father was very intentional. One of the things I love about my father's intentionality was he allowed me to push the envelope and question. It drove my mother insane. She could not stand that he would allow me because they would have conversations about why do you let her speak to me that way. What in my mom's mind
Yeah.
it was disrespectful, but my father's position was because I want her to know that she has a voice. I
Yes.
want her to know that if
That's
she's
key.
ever in a scenario that doesn't make sense and we're not around her, she knows that she can ask the question because we've created, he didn't use this language, but essentially we've
Yeah.
created a space for her to feel empowered. But my mom at the time when I was young didn't understand all of this independence and all of this independent voice because I was a young child and she was the primary caregiver. It's like, yeah, that sounds all great. But I'm the one who's usually picking her up from daycare, and I'm the one who's there for school, and I'm the one who's doing a lot of things, and
Right.
she's challenging me. And my father's position was, I just want her to know that if there's ever something wrong, that she can say something. And I do think that in our community, we don't necessarily give that freedom, and a lot of us learn it after 40. Like, wait a minute, I have something to say that doesn't make sense to me.
Right. Right.
Have you had that experience?
Yes, I did, and I'm sitting here listening, and up until literally 4 days ago, June 15th, because I think it's June 18th, or whatever. Last week.
Yeah.
What I realized, I've been doing a study that I was diagnosed with MS. And so I first really began to interact with Melia when she was doing sessions. What were those sessions called?
Life coaching.
Life coaching, which was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I was finally able to begin to consider me because I did not have a voice. I was not able, I had no place to express. And so what I learned 4 days ago, I'm listening to an audio book by Dr. Henry Wright, where he talks about the root causes of diseases. And so he speaks of MS. The root cause of MS is self-hate.
Wow.
When you have not been validated, when you have been shut down early in life. He explains down to the myelin sheath that loses its covering because it's been eaten away, and that's the sclerosis. And because I always want to know what was sclerosis. So that's when all your nerve endings have lost. It's just like a piece of candy in a wrapper, and something comes along and takes the wrappers off the candies. Okay, so that means that candy is exposed, right? Are you going to eat that candy? No. Okay, so with multiple sclerosis, MS, right? All your nerve endings are now exposed. So
Okay.
now you have these muscle spasms. Sometimes I'm doing hair, whatever, and my hands, I can't control it. Or like Friday, believe it or not, thank God I was in that chair by myself because I was having muscle spasms in the arch of my foot. So that's why too I kept changing, switching. But the root cause of multiple sclerosis, what scientists have figured out. He's a pastor, but what scientists have now linked together is self-hate. When people say, "Who cares?" And we had that discussion many times where I would say, my thought was always, "Who cares? I'm just supposed to go along with the flow."
Wow.
And up until 4 days ago, I realized that I have lived that and I believed that, which was a lie. And so, which I had to now go within myself and repent and apologize to me,
To you.
to myself. And I got with my grandson and I told him, I said, "Christian, Gigi's going to tell you for the first time, and I think in ever, I am beautiful." He was like,
Wow.
"Gigi, all my friends say that you're the most pretty girl." I said, "Christian, I'm telling you out of my mouth." I said, "I'm beautiful and I feel beautiful." I said, "And as of today, I am empowered.
Yes.
And I will no longer take these little things from you, from your granddad, from your mama."
Poor Christian, he was probably like, "What I do?
Right.
How'd I get in
What
this?
I do?"
Yeah. And so every morning now I tell myself, I am a child of God. I am the apple of God's eye. I am beautiful within my own self. That's why I was able to have a conversation with you. I've never had a conversation like that with anyone
Wow.
last night.
Thank you.
Never.
blessed.
We went out to dinner last night, and
Okay.
and I mean, and I shared things that I don't even.
It was incredible. We shared so much, like we knew each other forever.
Right.
Well,
right.
our mission has been accomplished.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mission
Yes.
accomplished.
Okay.
I love
Yes.
it.
I mean,
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
But you said something. I want to just expand on something that you said. You are making I am statements. And I recently heard someone say, your I am statements are the most important statements that you will ever make.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you say I am, whatever comes next,
Right.
you are.
Yeah.
I am tired. I am frustrated. I am overwhelmed. I am not enough. Or I am enough.
Right.
I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am deserving.
Yeah.
And so, and we did mirror declarations
Yes.
during our coaching sessions
Yes.
because we were rehearsing, looking in the mirror and saying the things and affirming yourself in the things that you did not yet believe.
Right.
And I am a firm believer that you have to speak to yourself. So it's you looking at yourself, stepping outside of yourself and speaking life into yourself that you don't yet have.
Right.
And so I think those I am statements continue to do that. And it's such a powerful lesson, I think, for every Black woman over 40 to remember
Yes.
and to think about what I am statements are you making and what then are they yielding in your life?
It
Right.
sounds like we all need to take your coaching class too.
Doesn't it though?
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, and me spending that time with Melia began to bring me to the forefront. I just hadn't exploded.
Wow.
Because for so long I was hidden because I couldn't speak up.
Yeah.
I couldn't talk back. I couldn't. Once mama said, whatever mommy said, you better just do it. And so that carried on into my marriage. I never got the it's okay to be you.
Wow.
It's okay to voice your opinion. That's why in being intimate, I didn't know that it was okay to say, okay, I mean, when am I, like I said, when am I going to be able to act like the people on TV?
And make the noises.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, right. So, cause I was never given, believe it or not. And I think so many women, we're waiting for permission to.
Yeah.
we're waiting for the it's okay too. You can go outside and play. Just make sure when the lights come on, you're back in the house. It's okay to understand, okay, I'm not 8 anymore. I'm not 12. Somewhere in there, we get stuck. Like I said, I got pregnant. My mama said, oh, you getting married. At that point, no one told me that I had a voice to say, excuse me, I love you, but no, I'm not. But I had a sister, got pregnant at 16. I was at least graduated high school. She was 16 and she got pregnant. She went to my mom and she was like, okay, well, I'm having a baby. And my mom was like, okay, well, it's going to be me, you, and the baby. And I'm like, I'm married. See, so again, I was never told, listen, it's okay to be you now. You grow up. Because the thing between us sisters is, and we still do this to each other, well, mommy said that you shouldn't, and we're in our 50s. We're in our 40. My sister is 49, 51, I'm 55. And we will have literal arguments on the phone. Well, mommy said that we shouldn't do that. And we're still there.
Mm-hmm. So one of the key things that I learned last year and still in therapy through is a term enmeshment. And the term enmeshment means you are enmeshed or you are engrafted with, in this particular instance, your parents. There is at some point an opportunity as we grow to then separate. And in that separation point, you are then becoming your own identity, your own person.
Right.
And oftentimes, I have found in our community, there isn't that line of delineation.
Right.
And so then we find ourselves, as I've learned, over the past year, still identifying with that voice contained 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Or 10-year-old or 12-year-old, wherever that is for each of us. And so that ability to have a voice to say, that doesn't work for me, to our parents. When we haven't had that point of separation, which is healthy. It's similar to like when the bird, I used to think it was so cruel when you would see like a mother bird who would like toss the baby bird out of the nest, because it's like, no. You're at the point now where you need to be able to fly on your own. You need to be able to take care of yourself. You need to be able to move and evolve as a growing bird. And I think what I have learned over the past year is that separation is so necessary for the development of our voice.
Yeah.
For the development of our identity, for the development of being able to be so confident enough to say, yeah, I really love when we are out and you touch me in the small of my back and this little spot right here behind the ear does something for me. There's so much power and empowerment and then being able to say when we're on the phone with siblings, when we're on the phone with friends that, mommy said, but let me tell you what I think. What I think is such and such and such and such. And I don't mean that as a disrespect. I'm just saying what I have learned, how I did not have a proper separation.
And
it became really challenging for me in my 40s to learn that there was so many parts of me that were still that 9-year-old little girl.
Wow.
Who was still seeking approval, who was still seeking, are you good with that? Let me run this decision by you. What are your thoughts about that? And I'm thinking, I am a whole grown like own property and I'm still seeking because I didn't have that separation, the approval of my parents. And I think it's a healthy separation that then strengthens our voice in our life situations, in our romantic relationships, even being able to tell a partner what we like, what we don't like,
So and I so hearing you say that brings me to another realization that that is what has limited me intimately. that has limited me. That has put limits in my brain, in my marriage intimately.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, if I'm doing all of this, like really, if my mama knew, what would she think?
Girl, your mama should not be in your bedroom.
Right, I'm just sitting here with little light bulbs. It's probably halos, not halos, but light bulbs around my head, because I'm like, yeah, this has been one of the issues, I believe, because there was never that, what you call
Transition
right
from, and I was saying this yesterday about mothering an adult, a new adult.
Mm-hmm.
Still dependent, but nevertheless has
Right.
reached the age of majority. And is, asserting her majority in some areas,
Right.
that it forced me into this place of realization that my job before was to be out front, right? As the guide.
Right.
And I'm leading her and I'm guiding her. But once she reaches majority and asserts autonomy, I am now behind.
Okay.
And I'm letting her, as painful as it might be to watch sometimes, but allowing her to lead and playing a supporting role in her development. And every day it's difficult, and I'm learning new ways to do that. Mostly it's learning how to keep my mouth shut.
Right.
and just nod and
Right.
to offer advice when it's solicited.
Right.
But otherwise, to recognize that if I continue to lead, when does she ever feel empowered
Correct.
and ready
Right.
to lead her own life? Because my parenting style has always been to parent in a way that I can feel confident that she's going to be successful when I'm no longer here.
Right.
Because I won't, if everything goes as it should, she will outlive me.
Right.
And I want to be able to go into the great by and by,
Right.
confidently knowing that she is going to be able to thrive without me in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And that is requiring me to now come to the back, fall back a bit, so that she can discover her voice.
Right.
That's great. That's a really
Right.
big deal.
Yeah.
It's hard to let go.
I would love to say that it's something. My parenting style has always been my parenting style. My goals have always been my goals, but I can't say that I was always good at it. She sort of demanded that I adjust by, again, asserting her autonomy.
Good. That's great.
Exactly. And it was frightening at first, but then the conversation we're having now and my relationship with my own mother helped me get there very quickly to say, allow her to fly,
Right.
right? Allow her to go, and you be there to help her pick up the pieces when necessary. But this is her life.
Right.
So scary.
You cannot live it for her.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
And how damaging is it for you to try
Right.
to live it for her?
Right.
It's hard though.
It is hard.
Yeah.
I remember those times very well. I had a guy friend that's still my friend. And I'll never forget, he told me, you need to get your son off your titty. He's 14. You need to get him off your breast. What? Here I am thinking I'm doing this great parenting job, right? And he's like, why do you have to leave your job to come and take him to school? High school? No, he needs to get his behind on a bus like everybody else. Let me tell you what happened the first day he got on the bus. You're right, Richard. You're right. Thank you, Richard, for that, if you ever hear this. It changed my life. It really made me see things in a different light. And so he got on the bus the next day. I worked, in traffic, went to work. And one of my little secretary at work said, have you seen the news? I was like, what? My son went to a high school in the junior college. You guys know about that program? So he's a freshman in high school. So by the time you graduate high school, you can have a 2-year degree and your high school diploma. So he was one
dual.
of the first
I did
classes.
it.
Yeah. And so I remember she came, Consuelo said, there's been a shooting at your son's school.
Oh my, this was the first day.
The first
Oh
day
my
of him
God.
riding the bus by himself. Can you imagine the fear?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I was terrified. I sobbed the whole way. I don't know if my son ever heard this story. I cried literally the whole way. I just left everything at work. I went home, went to the school, and because it was happens to be where the buses are that the shooting took place, where the buses are leaving.
Oh wow.
I'll never forget it. And so I'm looking for him on the bus. I'm looking, and I'm screaming, I'm screaming for him. And he turns around and is like, Mom, you're embarrassing me.
He has no idea the turmoil that's been going on in your head.
No, no idea. He was clueless, could care less. I'm fine. Why are you making this a big deal? That happened, 20 minutes, 30 minutes ago. Like it wasn't even our bus.
That will preach. I mean, just bringing it full circle, to the conversation that we're having about finding our voice, and as Black women over 40, being able to step into our power and walk into our power, defining what love looks like for us. We make decisions based on what we think people need from us. And it may not even be that.
That is so, so profound.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I mean,
Yeah.
literally, we are crafting our lives around these ideals of what the external world requires from us, and never question whether or not that's in fact true.
Right.
And then we die unfulfilled,
Yes.
unpleasured,
Yes.
Well,
right? Because we're focused on what he, she, and they need,
Right.
and never using that energy and that time and that space to turn those questions inward. And you're giving something that's not even required, that's not even appreciated, because it's not a thing for the person in which you're living for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's not a thing, or it was a thing at one time. And that time is now past. And that's now an antiquated need. And it's now been replaced. It's kind of like if we technologically were still using a rotary phone
Right.
and thinking, oh yeah, everybody needs a rotary phone. I mean, why wouldn't you need a rotary phone? Everybody has a rotary phone. But everybody else is like, so you don't have like a cell phone? Again, in our mind, we're thinking, but at one time, if you didn't have the rotary dial phone, for our younger people, just Google rotary phone.
Just go with it.
Just the over 40 crowd knows exactly what I'm talking about. But if we still have in our mind, but that was a need, because
Yeah.
at one time it was a need.
Yes.
But that need has now evolved, but we haven't evolved with that need. And maybe what was a need, the rotary phone, now is no longer a need at all. And so I can then create space, which is what we were talking about in the last episode. I can then create space for something new for me
Yeah.
that I
Yes.
need.
That's good.
Yes.
It was definitely eye-opening.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
bet.
that was a very good analogy. Yes, thank you.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, as I'm speaking, it's awakening something in me as well. I mean, because we spoke earlier about, we're all on this journey. Those of us who have decided to keep growing,
Right. Keyword.
decided,
Yes.
which I've learned that decision means to the exclusion of all other options,
Right.
right?
Right.
I am doing this and there is no other option for me. I have decided to grow.
Right.
And that means I have to reevaluate my relationships. I have to reevaluate how I'm showing up in the world, what I'm requiring of myself and other people, and in intimacy. And we talked on an earlier episode, Kelli and I got the question of about intimacy between the sandwich years, and I want to throw this out to you ladies too. How do you maintain intimacy during the sandwich years? And Kelli defined this for me as the years between sort of, transitioning maybe to parenting adult children, taking care of parents, because I have a boomer mom that I'm supporting as she's aging, have aging parents. I also have a 4-year-old. So like you're talking about the same. Like I probably the truest definition. Like I'm right there in the middle of a lot of different dynamics in terms of what my family life looks like and how do you maintain intimacy. And the honest answer to that is I don't know. I don't know. Like I am just learning how to be honest about the fact that I don't have the answer.
Full stop.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that there are changes in my body, that there are changes in how I have to show up as a mother, as a daughter, as a friend, as a business partner that has me so stretched that it is affecting intimacy. It is affecting my ability to be vulnerable,
Right.
to say what I need, to even understand what I need intimately.
Right.
Because it becomes sort of the last thing on the list sometimes.
Yeah.
You lose yourself.
Yeah, you very easily could
Yeah.
completely lose yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to throw that question to you all. If you've lived through it, if you're in it now, I know you, Pam, you have adult children.
Yeah.
Lavi, you have adult children. You're single. You're married. How have
Right.
you managed intimacy?
What I now as I look back over the past years, like the past 3 or 4 years, we've been married, like I said, 36 years. And as I look back now, we are enjoying each other more now than we ever have. Like laughing, joking. His pet name for me is Pinky. And I asked him, like, why you call me Pinky? And he told me, yeah, that's a full stop. And I was like,
Sharing tonight.
so yes, I would share. So anyway, right. So everything about me is pink,
Okay.
like pink.
Okay.
So top, bottom, yeah.
Full stop.
She's gonna love that top when you come home tonight, honey.
Right. So that's right. So that's why. And and we have finally come to the understanding that it's me and you against the world.
Yeah.
Finally.
Wow.
With all the struggles, with all the fussing and the disagreements, all of that, he said at our last anniversary, I asked him, I said, what made you want to stay? What made you stay with me? Because of how I am. I am a free-willed butterfly. You leave the house, it's pink. You come home the next day, it's green. Okay, you leave the house today, all the furniture is over here. When you come in from work, all the furniture is over there. So I'm just all over the place. And I asked him, I said, what made you stay or want to stay? And he said, because you never left. He said, you never gave up on me. I was like, wow. He said, people would have been left. Nobody would have put up with this. I was like, so you did this to me on purpose? So now I'm getting angry.
You tested me all these 36 years.
Yeah. And I said, wow. But now, so now we're coming to really enjoy each other. Like there's some times like throughout the day, I will physically miss him. And I'll call him and say, I don't know, but I just wanted to call you because I miss you. He was like,
Now, Pam, can you give me some advice as somebody that's not been married for 36 years?
Okay.
Like, not close.
Okay.
No. Let me ask you. Let me ask the question. Because baby, I don't have 36 years to get there. So how can I expedite?
Okay.
Shortcut. What's the shortcut to this?
Okay, I am so glad you asked, and I have been wanting to share this with all. Okay, so all right, so
Wait a minute. Class of Pam is in session.
Yes.
Okay, go.
okay, so You don't make the situations about you. It's not about you.
Top knot just came loose.
When he is upset,
Unraveled.
let him be upset. That's not about you. Don't make that about you. Arguments are about you proving that you're right.
Ooh, I'm a lawyer though.
I
Okay.
know she can't help it. That's
Right.
what she does. They argue.
Right.
But do you take the lawyer hat off?
Off.
Then?
Baby,
Correct.
I'm learning. I'm
You have to.
trying to learn how.
I would
Yeah.
imagine that would have to be intentional though,
You have to.
because
Yeah.
you're very good at what you do,
Right.
and so I can see it being very innate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right. So and when he gets upset, I don't cop the attitudes anymore. Because he get upset. And I'm like, okay, so what you mad about? Until I just end up in myself. He's upset. Let me go wash dishes. I mean, I don't, but let me go find some clothes to
Order
fold.
another Tesla.
Right.
Listen, I heard about peppermint and
Pebbles.
pebbles.
Yes, we have peppermint and
the
pebbles.
2 Teslas.
Yes, yes. One is red and white and one is black and white. So, but I never, I learned to really, really walk out the word. Love is patient. It's kind. It's long suffering.
And it keeps
How long? No.
Can we
As
redefine?
okay, so it is as long until you get over it.
And you know my favorite part of that scripture actually is it keeps no record of wrong.
Zero.
Oh,
Zero.
It's my
I
favorite.
gotta throw my tally
part.
sheet away.
Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I definitely keep score, if we're being honest.
Okay, yeah, no.
That's
I
honest.
mean, yeah, it's that's no value. I mean, what value is that bringing to you?
Okay,
Proving you right.
that's right.
Yep. She's
exactly
a lawyer.
right.
Because she said,
Yeah. And it prolongs the argument because you play it and you replay it in your mind. In your mind.
I dream about it.
you
And I wake up
rehearse
with a
it.
new defense.
Correct.
Or a new
Right.
offense.
Right. So okay, so ma'am, I would object because now you're in violation because you're not supposed to go to bed angry. You're not supposed to go to bed
okay.
angry.
Oh,
So
okay. Now, is that realistic?
No, and let me tell you why.
it's really hard.
Now, it is difficult. What I will say is there are times when I can count on one hand when my husband and I have not been on the same page.
right.
And we've talked about actually that particular scripture, both of us being PKs.
Right.
But what we have talked about is what we have found works best for us in that scenario is it is better that we don't have a conversation because we both have not worked through our emotions.
Now that makes sense.
If we have a conversation for the sake of being in alignment with that text, it is going to place our household in a space of a lack of peace. So we have taken the perspective of we give ourselves 24 hours.
Oh,
We
that's
don't
good.
want it to go and linger. And as you were mentioning earlier, those small things that start adding up. So we give ourselves 24 hours, but we do want to have a conversation. But once the emotion is past,
Right.
and we can have a conversation about the facts,
Specific.
Madam Esquire, about the facts and
Right.
debate the facts.
Listen, I have a friend who, and this is just, it blows my mind. Her and her partner, her husband, will be in a full-fledged fight and have sex that night and still wake up the next day to finish the fight. Now here's my thing. She don't work like that. When I'm mad, she's mad.
Right.
So
Correct.
I don't even that sends, but I don't even understand
Right.
how intimacy and we haven't resolved,
Correct.
but they do it, and maybe it's one of those to each his own things.
Yeah, I think
Coach
so.
Lavi?
I swear I've done that.
You have.
So
Okay.
I was married to my baby daddy for a number of years, like 20 years. And then we separated and then we got back together. Never do that. But we did for like 9 more years, which was okay. But so he was of the school. He can't do anything angry. I will tear you up. I mean, I will go in the bathroom and put on the most sexiest, wear some heels, whatever, girl, whatever it took to try. Well, can't we just have sex and you be mad tomorrow? I was
Now, what
totally
was driving
serious.
that? Was that because you the sexual need, or was that
The sexual need?
Oh.
That was it. Period. I was very oversexed. I just
Right.
like sex. So
okay?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, that's what.
I could not be mad at you while we have sex, and then
Oh,
we can
see,
go back
I
to.
don't work that way.
We can go
I was,
back.
Yeah, I
I was
don't
gonna
work
say, is
that
it a
way.
mind over body?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah,
That's powerful.
That is
It's
powerful.
absolutely mind over. Can we just one time and then you could be mad? No, just leave me alone.
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah. She don't work that way.
Oh, she will.
Yeah.
She will anyway. What? What is that? What? Oh yeah, bring it on over here, boo. Yes. Anyway,
Can't do it.
and you
Yeah,
can
I
be
can.
mad.